Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about a really popular subject in the crystal industry, which is mineral collecting. There's really two forms of crystal collecting that we want to talk about. One is for the purpose of mineralogical societies or rock hounding or things to that degree, where you're collecting for the sake of collecting, as opposed to the person who's going more new age or metaphysical, who's collecting for the purpose of usage. So I would add my 2 cents in, and I hope that we get something really good and interesting from this video and we learn something new. The first thing we want to discuss is value retention, meaning that the price you paid for something doesn't devalue over time. Actually, it either holds its value or hopefully goes up in value. And so when we're collecting, especially for the purpose of actual mineral collecting, we want to make sure that material we're buying, that we're paying the right price for it, whether it's retail or wholesale. Great news for all of us, because now I have some very high quality Mexican minerals here. Whatever reason, I'm on people's radar, thank God. This can happen, especially in the case of things that are more rare or exclusive or harder to get. And I'm getting calls from people asking me if I want to buy out pockets, mines, things like that of like higher end material, which has always been really hard to do. Determining if something is going to hold its value or not can be seen in market trends. Over the last 10 years, if we look at amethyst from Brazil has gone up about 10 to 15% almost every single year. With that consistent projection of the material increasing in price, we can assume that the price is going to continue to increase, as long as we're taking care of it and not destroying the piece. The second thing we want to talk about is damage control. The less damage a piece actually has, the more valuable it's going to become. You know, the problem is we got a little damage here, so that really, for me, reduces the price. It's maybe a $2,500 rock. With the damage, for me, I'm not going to pay more than $1,800 for it. Actually a little bit hard, and you kind of need a little bit of experience and a sharper eye to actually identify damage or repairs. If this was intact, then it would be pristine still. This is also broken and repaired. The issue is that most dealers who sell the rocks are not going to focus their price on the damage. Actually, most dealers are going to try to either hide the damage or price the mineral according to what its general price should be.
That one is 3,800.
There's a lot of damage,
That's true.
you know, around the piece. So, I mean, if it was pristine, that this wasn't damaged like that, I would say your price is good. So we're not going to typically see someone taking a damaged piece and decreasing the value because of damage or repair. That kind of makes things a little bit complicated. He's got $2,750 on there. I mean, it's $1,000 rock. With the damage, it's like $700. We really need to be able to identify damage and repair. The third thing we want to discuss is quality. Quality is one of those things that's relative, meaning that some people may prefer a color or a hue over another color or a hue. Some people may prefer secondary minerals in their specimens, while others do not. This is up to the person to speculate and decide what quality means for them. How damaged is the piece? What is the formation of the crystals? What is the saturation level of the crystals? What is the mineral content? And those things will pretty much hold true across the board. One of the things that I like to do when I am assessing quality is really looking at sellability. I have 10 people that will be interested in buying this rock. I have 3 people that are interested in buying this rock. I have 1 person that would be interested in buying this rock. And so the material that's easier to sell usually would be considered in the industry as a higher quality, which does not necessarily make it higher quality. It's just easier to sell. The fourth thing we're going to be talking about is sourcing. Now, there's a few things that go into sourcing. One of them is fair trade, ethical practices, what is the locality of something, what is the accessibility of something. And so all of those things kind of play into the bigger picture of sourcing. Can the material be mined with hand tools, or do I need to get machinery to mine the stuff? Because again, hand tools are cheap, machinery is expensive. Then we also have to consider the practices behind cleaning and refining materials. Also, when we're looking at accessibility, we're looking at how hard is it to actually get to a mine? Where is the mine located? Going through the proper channels when we're sourcing and mining is going to take a lot more time, effort, and energy than a lot of the shortcuts that people can take when sourcing. So if you want the proper channels, doing things the proper way, that's going to take much more time, and it's going to raise the price of something. If we are looking to engage in mineral collecting for the sake of mineral collecting or collecting fine minerals, it really goes more in the direction of, am I looking for quality or quantity? So if you're going to be looking for just cool things, that's one thing. But if you're going to be using all of the tools that we've been discussing, then that's going to be completely different than, that's cool, I like it, it's for me. Give me a rating, 1 to 10. How good did I do?
I would give it a 9.
The more patient you are, the more diligent you are, the more you're able to learn and hit the brakes on yourself and not just buy the first cool thing you see, the better your collection is going to start to become. Now let's get into everyone's favorite topic, collecting for the sake of energetic purposes. The age-old questions of do crystals have energy is always being asked. Essentially, all things that exist have energy to them, including this table that I'm sitting on right now and the sweater that I'm wearing. In a spiritual sense, energy is going to adapt more of a motivation to it. Metaphysics essentially is, why do you exist? Why do you grow? What is the motivating force behind you? What is your purpose? People are always asking me for book recommendations. I'm getting into crystal collecting. I want to do energy stuff. What book do you recommend? And my answer is always the same. There is no book. You are the book. You are your own best resource. So if you're going to be going in the direction of identifying with crystals and energy and properties, you need to make those calculations. You need to come to your own conclusions and not just read a book and run with the information that somebody else came up with. In my humble opinion, a rock is not going to arbitrarily offer somebody love. Instead, what it can do is provoke a feeling or lead you in the direction of fulfilling a desire that you may have for love. Thinking that something is achievable only with a rock in hand, this is mysticism and not spiritualism. Spiritualism is going to be based around the why, as where mysticism is based off of something magical and mystical just kind of happening. So you could say that, oh, I just went to the store, I bought my rose quartz, I put it in my pocket, and then I just bumped into my soulmate in the street. But more likely, your desire to go out to the store and get that stone and put that stone on yourself is going to put you in the headspace where you're going to be more attracted to that love in whatever desire you actually have for it. In my experience, colors are going to be readily used to identify certain energy properties with certain stones. Basically saying the root chakra is the color red. And so whatever rocks that I find that are red are going to be associated with the root chakra. If you think that the root chakra has something to do with grounding, whatever that might mean for you, do you actually understand what that means for you? Do you really understand what grounding means? I'd like to liken this to someone who's going out to look for a hammer, but has never seen a hammer in their life. The only piece of information they have is that the hammer is iron color, silver color. And so when they go to the hardware store and they start looking at tools, they find a wrench and they say, oh, this must be a hammer because it is silver or iron colored. And then they buy the wrench. Not the right tool for the right job. If a person actually knows what they need the hammer for, the specific job that the hammer is supposed to do, even if they don't know what the hammer looks like, when they get to the hardware store, they'll be able to identify the hammer based off of what they need to use it for. This should lead us to understanding that the color is not as important as the usage. Just because a stone is red does not mean we're just going to associate it with the root chakra and it's an easy fix. If we're going to use grounding as an example, one should be asking themselves, what is it that I need to do to find my grounding? And if the answer is that I need to put stones on myself, then really there's no amount of stones that are going to help you to actually ground yourself out. If you don't understand what it is that you need to do, then there's no tools that you can use to do it. If anything, it's the desire to surround yourself with the right tool or the right crystal or the right stone that actually allows you to manifest these kinds of energies. And lastly, I just want to make one more blanketed statement, which is that in my opinion, crystals do have energy, they are alive, and they are able to help raise vibration or remove certain vibrations from things, but that's going to take a lot of time and experience and really being able to figure out what works for you best. We can't just say this stone does this thing or that stone does that thing. It doesn't work that way. I see a lot of people just running to these baseline narratives that they've heard somewhere or read somewhere without really figuring it out themselves. There's a big difference between hearing something and knowing something. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you got something good out of this video. I hope there was something thought-provoking. I appreciate you. I love you. See you next time.